All material used in this video is owned by Nintendo. Hey guys, Pack Kid here. Today we're going to talk about the Game Boy and the 3DS. Nintendo's oldest handheld and Nintendo's newest handheld. Honestly, the 2DS, I don't have it, and it's just a wannabe 3DS. What's next, the 1DS? Anyway, so first let's look at the Game Boy. It's simple, I must say. Its slogan was, "Now you're playing with power, portable power." It has a great library of games, one of them being Dr. Mario. I want to show you my whole library of Game Boy games, well, actual cartridges. I have Tetris. Unfortunately, I can't use it for this video. So, basically, if you don't know what Tetris is, it's the most famous puzzle video game ever. It's basically falling blocks, and you have to get them in a vertical row. No, just look at the Irate Gamers review. And I do not mean Angry Video Game Nerd. Hey, wait, what's that? Oh, it's just another box. Anyway, Game Boy games came in boxes like this. This is what the box looks like when it's empty. This is the box with a game inside. Now, if you wanted to get your Game Boy games out, all you had to do was push this. Easy as pie. Fortunately for me, my mom kept all of the boxes. And every Game Boy game I've seen at Disc Replay does not have a box. And when it did have a box, the box was broken. But anyway, I could probably hold my entire library of Game Boy games in my one hand. Box not included. So, the Game Boy, it's a pretty decent piece of hardware, I must say. Now, here's what happens when you turn the Game Boy on. You turned it on by flipping this switch. The game would turn on. Now, different games would have like a little intro, like, there's my Arcade Classics 1 game. Now, it has, asteroids and Missile Command, so it's pretty decent. There are other Arcade Classics games too, but unfortunately, I don't have those. I have already reviewed a Game Boy game that my dad liked to play, and that was NHL Hockey 95. Every system has its sports game. Seriously, I can't name one system that doesn't have a sports game. Even the first video game was a sports game. Well, as far as my knowledge goes. Pong. I think there was a game in the 60s called Tennis for Two. But that's still a sports game. So, here it didn't have Wi-Fi yet, so you had to use the extension connector. That would connect two Game Boys together. There's also supposed to be one for the Virtual Boy, but that thing, sorry Jack, sucked so hard that it was discontinued before such a thing could be released. Sorry for saying that about your favorite system, Jack. But come on, you don't even have a Virtual Boy. So, anyway, there are games that I'm not fond of, like NHL Hockey 95 and Tetris Blast. Then, there are ports like Donkey Kong and Arcade Classics 1. But then there's the board game video games, like Monopoly. Anyway, the Game Boy could only play games. But hey, it's 1989. What do you expect? When you turn the Game Boy on, the light would be red. It would only be red. Nothing else. Just red. Because that's how the thing was programmed. You might be wondering why I'm saying this. Well, one of my scout friends, his name is Nate, said, "Oh, let's face about video games." Like, he couldn't get one right fact about classic games. Seriously! I mean, he said that the Game Boy was released in 1999. It was released in 1989! Probably in both Japan and America. Probably not the same exact date. Like, the Japan Game Boy could have been released on July 6th, and the American Game Boy could have been released on March 3rd. I don't know. I mean, I don't know every fact about video games, but I know that if you take video game facts from him, then they'll most likely be wrong. So sorry about talking trash about you, but it's true, Nate. You know who you are. He's no longer in my scout troop, but we were in Cub Scouts. Man. You know, I should write a book about the history of video games. Accurate facts. Wait a minute. Pack Kid won't write that. Yeah. Anyway. So, the sound came out here. You had the ported buttons from the NES, the D-pad, the B and A buttons, and select and start. I'm glad they ported it because Tiger games, you know, the little electronic things, those did not port the NES control, so I'm glad the Game Boy did. Anyway, so unfortunately for the 3DS, the Game Boy has a screen protector that can easily come off and come back on. So no worries for the fact that I just took it off. Also, the Game Boy was in Captain N, the Game Master. So, if you want to know what it's going to look like when I put the screen protector back on, I'll show you. There you go. Alright, and there. Now you can see what the Game Boy sees. It probably sees everything in puke green pixels. So, I'm trying very carefully not to hit the power button. check in for part 2 of this maybe 4-part series. We're going to look at some Game Boy games. But very quick, let's discuss the 3DS. Look at its design. Probably one of the most perfect things ever. I got mine at Christmas from Santa. And yes, I believe in Santa. And he is real. And any of you who say that your mom said that she was Santa, then really, you're probably just insulting her. Because, have you seen Santa? He's a fat, old man that breaks into everyone's home through the chimney. I'm not even sure if we have a chimney. Hey, Mom, do we have a chimney?
Yes.
Okay, we apparently have a chimney. So, yeah. This light can turn green or blue and red. And can flash red, because that's what this light can do too. When you're losing power, it goes red. When you're really close to losing power, it flashes red. This is for the camera. And so is this. It turns red. There's a lot of red on this thing. So anyway, there's a D-pad here. And there's a circle pad. Call it what you want. I'm calling it a circle pad. There are buttons here. A, B, Y, and X. Then there's select, start, and home. On the bottom screen, it's a touch screen. But at the top, it's like it's not a touch screen. Now, I have a lot of Virtual Console games. See? Now, check in for part 2, and we'll compare the launch titles of Super Mario Land and Super Mario 3D Land. The irony about this is I'm going to be playing both of them on a Game Boy. On a 3DS. So just check in for part 2 of this 4-part. Bye!